So let's get into the specifics of the case because it can seem a little wonky to people who just see the headlines. Because at its heart, the Supreme Court was considering whether Idaho's near total abortion ban conflicts with a federal law that involves emergency abortion access. That's my kind of layman's summary of what happened today. Can you tell us what was argued today? What are the specifics of this case?
So I don't expect people to get into the weeds with me about, the supremacy clause of the Constitution or things like that. But the court did talk a lot about federal and state relationship and the idea that if the federal government passes a law, a state can't just pass a law that conflicts and say we prevailed, right? That we are actually one nation and there are limits. And one of the big limits is that when federal and state law conflicts, the federal law prevails. But I don't think you need to be a lawyer to get the heart of this case. People in this country for decades have understood and expected that if you are in emergency, if you need emergency medical care, you can show up at a hospital and receive it. It doesn't matter who you are or really how much money you make or where you are in the country. Hospitals can't dump you or say, I don't want you here because it's inconvenient. And what Idaho has said is that, okay, everyone can have that emergency care except for pregnancy, except for people who are pregnant and are in need of emergency abortion care. So it directly conflicts with federal law, but it also really leaves patients and communities and providers in a terrible, terrible situation.
And in fact, we've been seeing headlines over the last few weeks about how some pregnant people have been turned away from emergency rooms in situations of distress. Is that because of laws like Idaho's?
That's right. Idaho, but there are 6 states who also have laws that are similar, that have such extreme abortion bans with narrow exceptions. The way the Idaho exception is written is that only in the imminent death of someone. So the way that has been interpreted by doctors on the ground is that they really have to believe this person is going to die before intervening and providing life-saving or health-saving emergency abortion care. And to make that a little bit more concrete, there are all sorts of conditions. We love to tell ourselves the story that every pregnancy is routine with no problems. But the truth is about 1 in 3 people end up going to the hospital at some point during their pregnancy for care. And sometimes it is an emergency. Sometimes someone might have preeclampsia, and if you don't treat it, that can lead to other conditions like having a stroke. You might not die, but your health is not okay. Or you might, your water might break, which can lead to infections, and infections that can lead to your kidneys. Maybe you're on dialysis for the rest of your life. You didn't die, but your health is severely impacted. What the federal emergency laws have always said is that life and health saving care is critical and must be provided. And Idaho and other states are saying it is up to us. We don't have to provide all of the care that the federal government says that you can. So it's cruel, but it also would upend the notion that we actually are in a single country. States can't just do whatever they want, no matter the cost to people in this country.